All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the SHIPIT Nation NFL Main Slate Show. Got my guy Hoop and Title here with me, as always, to break down all things Week 8. Do us a favor on the way in. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, get into the chat, get active. We'll bring some up as we go along. If you are a SHIPIT Nation member and you did not check your email yet, we still have some spots open in the Golden Shipper. So we've got 2 Golden SHIPIT tickets that we've already given away this week. One taking on Hoop. Jesse is going to take on Hoop for a 6-1 record head-to-head. We'll see how that goes. And then I got my man Pasta 7 in the Discord. He's set up, and we put the core up on the site, the Golden Core. It correlates pretty well to Hoopster's core switch last night. So for members, you guys can go check it out. If you want to become a member, now is a great time to check all things out. SHIPIT Nation. Use code SHIP19 at the site. Hoop, I'll bring you in first, man. It is National Tight End Week, and here we go. So what's going on, man? How are you?
Everything's going well. Nothing to really add on to the national tight end talk. I feel like they do it I could be totally wrong, but I feel like they do it like multiple times, like per year. I don't know. It seems like everyone's always talking about this. Definitely not going to affect anything I do today. I'll tell you that much. In regards to the slate, a lot of really, really bad quarterbacks starting. That's the first thing that pops in my mind. We got Tyler Huntley, which I think is definitely better than the Cooper Rush situation. Kirk Cousins back in our lives. We got Justin Fields back to being a starting quarterback. Tua added to the injury. I don't even know if they officially added him to the injury report, but he's ill or something this morning. So
yeah, he's injury report with illness. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Joe Flacco is playing, which, not a shitty quarterback. That offense looked really good last week, but not many high-end quarterbacks. That's definitely the first thing that kind of stands out to me. We kind of go to the running back position. And again, it seems like it's been the case a lot this season where it's just like a group of 6, 7, 8 strong running back plays. And we have that again today. Wide receiver, I think, though, is the interesting spot because it's pretty wide open. Like if you're playing on DK, the Jamar Chase price tag is not great. And like even Ibuka is a little underpriced. FanDuel definitely did a better job with the pricing, but after a few of the top end guys, pretty wide open at wide receiver. And then tight end, we have some very, very strong value plays that we'll get to. One that I like quite a bit for the obvious reasons, which we'll talk about when we get to that game. But I think it's, wide receiver, what you do there is going to be pretty big this week because the other spots, the wide receiver and quarterback, I think are pretty important as well. And that's where you can look for your pairings, but it is when you're looking to stack certain quarterbacks, it's tough because with these cheap quarterbacks we have in play, the pairings might not be great. And then the one big piece of news for the slate is definitely Drake London. Popped up on the injury report yesterday, kind of out of nowhere with the hip, and got to see if he plays. And even if he does play, he's a guy that he has no problem leaving a game early if he's not feeling well. So it's a tough situation to monitor. So hopefully we get some clarity on that. Maybe they say, oh yeah, it was just a precautionary add to the injury report. He's good to go. That would be best case scenario, but we'll see. A lot of money up top, and what we're looking to do is definitely keep the momentum going. You had the big week last weekend, and that continued into the Monday night game, and a lot of members having big time success, not only in NFL, but in NBA as well. And you see this. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And when that momentum starts to build, things tend to continue on the right track for a little while. So looking to do that today.
Yeah, shout out to my man Nick. Last week he said somebody's going to do well. I said in the chat this exact show last week, I said, can it be me, please? Even 100K. He goes, fine, 100K for you. Didn't quite get there on Sunday, but with the Monday night win and then a good week in the NBA street. Shout out to our NBA team over there getting it done. Got pretty close. So a very profitable week. He says he's got Hoop up top for a Millie title. I'll bring you in just 1 second, my friend. Just want to go through it. Our man Nades back on land. Got to get right back on the ship, buddy, the rocket ship. We're going to the moon today. Green Bay tonight for you, but in the daytime, we got the classic slate. Welcome back. We appreciate you. Everybody in the chat, I see a ton of regulars and names we love and appreciate. So thank you guys all for joining us. And It is Dalton Day, I think, title, but I'm hoping another Dalton is active. He's another piece of information we're waiting on. I know Hoopster likes a one Dalton Schultz, but Dalton Kincaid on this slate as well, and we'll get to Mr. Josh Allen later on. Title, Free Money Sunday, baby. What's going on?
Yeah, what a day. I mean, to cap it off tonight, too, Rodgers and the Packers. Oh, I can't wait for that game. Yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, it's a good slate. I mean, it all makes sense why it's National Tight End Day, because for DFS, it's kind of National Tight End Day, too. 2 tight end builds will be very popular. It gets you, right. I think Hoop summed it up perfectly. Quarterback will be so spread out. Running back, there's just not value on the slate people want to go to. So it'll almost be like Rashad White and above. And you have plenty of studs. I mean, some of the best, highest projected guys on the slate are at running back. Receivers, the weakest position, I think, on the slate this week. You do have people in all different tiers, though. Chase looks really strong. You have mid-tier options. And we do have 3K, very viable guys that make a lot work on this slate. But when you compare those 3K receivers to the 3K tight ends, the tight ends are projecting better. They're on the field more. The target share is better, which will lead to a lot more double tight end builds. So, yeah, pretty open, 10 games, 3 in the afternoon window. Solid DFS slate.
Yeah, usually it goes bad when people say this, but I don't like to think negatively. And I will say one of my favorite slates of the year, and not for others. I think a lot of people say it's hard, it's tough, it's tricky to figure out, it's this, that, and the other. All probably true, but there's nothing better because we all play with the same game, the same pieces. We're all opening up the same box, dumping out the parts on the table, and we got to build it. So to me, I love this slate. It's going to be good going through it. I think there's a ton of big ideas as we go throughout. Our man Nick has a little bit for you there, Title. He left a few breadcrumbs for you.
I'll take 30K any day. That's great over here. So I appreciate it, Nick.
Really, I'm getting 100K. Title gets 30K.
I'm good. I'm in.
Yeah. We'll take it. Beggars can't be choosers. But yeah, we love to see it. Thank you, Nick, and thank you everybody. My man Alex Hahn out there. Appreciate you as well. Lots of good people out there letting us know what's going on. Do you have any other thoughts? I know you'll have the weather, the props, things like that up, Title. Any other grand scheme overview from you just with the way the slate's setting up? I think Hoop mentioned it. You hear 0 running back all summer, and then you get to DFS slates, and it's like 9 running backs every slate, 10 running backs every slate. What's the thought process around how you see it shaping up today?
Yeah, to be fair, like the 0 running back's the best ball. It's just they're the most injury prone. And like if Bijan gets hurt, that Algier pick or whatever goes up in value. But yeah, no, I think just like no weather to worry about at all. Again, 10 games. So, I mean, late swap's always in play. With the one game that, has the highest total, I saw a little chatter in Discord about it, 51.5, the Cowboys Broncos, not getting too much love. So I do like to see like QB ownership is really spread out. But yeah, my broad slate overview is kind of just people want to spend at running back. Receiver, I think, is the weakest position. All options in all different price ranges, though. And tight end, a double tight end will be popular because what injuries at receiver have done to make better tight ends better. And also, they just refuse to raise their pricing at tight end. So even the Tyler Warrens, guys that you can consider wide receivers or like main targets on their team, are pretty mispriced, it feels like.
Yeah, one of the things I love about this slate, and I'll say a piece now, and then I'll definitely get to it when we go through the game by game. Hoop, I'll come to you in a moment for the Dolphins at the Falcons, talking about Kirk Cousins, waiting on that London news. But just quickly, I'm, in building up my stuff, I have very little double tight end, and it's just the way it's working out. It makes sense. I see it. One thing I see about it though, as well, there is different options, and some of them do make sense. It's not like I have none. I'm just saying it's typically like Schultz and Goddard and things like that are popping up, and to me, it just not only do those two make a ton of sense on paper, which I get, but the problem I have with it looking for the big shot, full Millie takedown type setup is that ends up just putting me on even more chalk in other places. Again, you can use Saber Sim and things like that to your advantage so that you don't end up like that. Tons of different ways to get different with your stacks. But I think people are less comfortable with some of these uglier stacks and different setups on their build. So they're using that to get back to comfort. When you're using comfort to get back to comfort, it becomes a little bit tricky in some of these large field top heavy tournaments. So that's just my thoughts on the double tight end stuff. Hoop, I'll go to you. Game 1, we've got the Dolphins at the Falcons. There's 10 games on this slate, 3 in the afternoon. We're going to kick off the morning with this one. What do you got?
I think it's a good game. And kind of talked about it a little bit in the opening with Drake London, and maybe we get the news before 11:30 Eastern, which I kind of hope is the case. We have a chance to touch on it or circle back, but if he's in, I really like the Falcon side and even the Dolphin side. And I'll kind of talk through it, but I don't know. I think I kind of need him to be in for it to all work, just because I think this offense, if he's out, is going to look totally different. I mean, you could see, I think Bijan Robinson getting he's already gets a ton of work. Don't get me wrong, but like they could just fully lean on him offensively to get through this one. If London is out, if he's in, then I think Kirk Cousins, they trust Kirk Cousins to throw the ball. If London is in, if he's out, like I said, I think it's going to be a little bit of a different story. So I want London in for this game. If London's out, I'm probably mostly out on this game. I love the Cousins stuff. Super cheap. He's not like a random backup tight end. He's been in this league. He started before. And that's something I look to if I'm going to play a backup quarterback. He's been with this team for a while, and I would love him, Drake London. I think you can play Mooney, and then even some Kyle Pitts. And then if you're not doing that, you have arguably the best running back in the NFL, or one of them, Bijan Robinson, that can get it all done. So if Cousins is in, I like the passing attack and Bijan. If Cousins is out, I'm going to bump Bijan and think that they just kind of lean on him in order to make this whole game work. I mean, you do have pieces on the other side. Like the Dolphins have been bad. Don't get me wrong. Like they've been very bad, and we picked on them last week. It was my first big bet of the season, going with the Browns over the Dolphins. I think they can be productive here and keep this game relatively close in the dome. I mean, it's a bad spot. Anytime Miami is on the road with bad weather, just pick against them. And it's worked, seems like almost every single time. But I think in this dome, they can be a little more productive. Not playing any Tua stuff, don't get me wrong, but Achane is a guy that, can kind of get there in any sort of game script. The price is down a little bit. I really like Jalen Waddle. I think Waddle's a great play today. Shouldn't have too much ownership. And again, they made some comments about getting him more involved, and they just have to. I mean, look at their other options. So I'm in on the Waddle stuff. Malik Washington, you have as a cheap wide receiver. I mean, I guess the one big thing, like not big, but Darren Waller's out. They're using him a ton. Like it's got to go to somebody. So really like Waddle today. Really like Achane, and I'd really, really like this game if Drake London is in. I feel like I've said that about 5 times, so I'll just kind of stop there.
Yeah, that's perfect. I will say they do get the ball does have to go to somebody, and I think our man Rob Lay the House got it. Yeah, it might go to that Atlanta defense.
Correct.
I think one of the most interesting ways today to play Bijan is with the Atlanta defense, as that will cut into him. If you have the stone, it's good enough on the defense number for me to go with a very good number when it comes to Bijan. No surprise there. So shout out to our man Rob. 5Y Gary's in the building, coming off the live final seat. Appreciate him. The NBA Showdown shipper queen, our girl Kim, she's using the BG Little Neck Towers that we got over there at the Nation. So I'd love to see that. Our girl Drea said she likes Algier in the large field stuff. So Title, you know what's coming to you. We got to think about this for 2 seconds. My man Alec, appreciate you. Hope you're enjoying your customer experience on YouTube. And Aaron Smith says Red Rocket ship in the cards. We could see that today. We got Andy Dalton. We'll get there in just a couple of games. The Title, I'll kick it to you. Algier would be interesting, I guess, large field and stuff, but probably not first thoughts. And you're going to be probably interested in some of this other stuff with Bijan and whatnot. And how are you handling the Drake London news? You're the king of the if-then scenarios. Let us know.
Yeah, I mean, Algier is a showdown play. I can't click that name. If he gets 2 or 3, I'll live to fight another day.
Let me just add on to that point real quick, because I do think it's important. A question that comes up a lot in these chats about like the backup running backs, and it's tough for a couple of reasons. First off, yes, they've priced up a couple guys today, a couple of these running backs, but overall, the rest of the spots pricing is very, very soft. That's just going to lead to bigger overall fantasy scores, and these running backs have just been smashing. So for like a backup running back to get there, it's like you said, it's got to be 2 or 3 touchdowns, and I just don't think that's feasible. So I don't think you can do the backup running backs basically ever, unless we get like super tough pricing. If we get very, very tough pricing, then you can. He probably needs 3 running backs or 3 touchdowns to be the running back today.
And then once you do that, you're going to have a snowflake somewhere in your team, and you're going to get pissed because you didn't win it because that guy did it. So
I had him in one lineup and it didn't work out. Yeah, you didn't get the other 8 pieces correct in the one lineup of 50 that you built and put him in there. So that just, if you're doing that, I think you got to do it. That's always my take.
Yeah. To this game, I mean, yeah. Shout out Tyler. What's going on? Hope everything's going well. But I think Bijan's probably the best play on the slate. This dude is insane at football. The Dolphins are insanely bad at football. The stone shows it. I mean, this Dolphins team's dust. Achane, Waddle, one-offs when I'm running Falcon stuff, sure. Like Achane can get there in so many ways, big play upside. really all they have is Waddle. So in Falcon stuff, and I do think the Falcons move the ball and score points. I'm good with them as run backs, but that's about it there. Yeah, the passing game I've been kind of going back and forth on, because while like if London plays, Kirk has so many options, but he's a statue. Like, why would they not just hand it off a billion times? And also, he has, like, if London plays, it's London, it's Mooney, it's Pitts. Do you want to play two of them? Like, I'm kind of struggling on who to pair him with and just how many to pair him with, because then it's Bijan. Like, there's so many dump offs from Bijan where it's like, okay, if I play Cousins, like, I still probably want to play Bijan. Then I'm picking one after, and then is it Achane or Waddle on the run back? It just feels a little harder to get right than some other games, which is why ownership will be spread out. I think I almost prefer it if there is no London, but I do agree to Hoop's point. If there's no London, maybe they just run the ball every single play and don't even have to worry about dropping back. Like, I was looking at Kirk's passing props, 222.5. I mean, that's not great for someone that's going to not run the ball at all on a 10-game main slate. So I think I backed off a little bit on the passing stuff. I don't mind like Pitts at tight end to get different at a onesie position. Drake, if he plays, if you're not playing Bijan and stuff. But my favorite way to play it is just hammer Bijan. The dude's a stud. And I don't hate, like you said, the Falcons D Bijan stuff. They're overpriced at 3.5. I mean, yeah, two in this offense, I think, are toast. It's only time, a matter of weeks, I think, till Big Mike is fired.
Yeah, for me, games like 4 and 5, when we get there, I'll have a lot less to say. But for one, I mean, this week I always have a lot to say. I shouldn't say that. But for on these games, I usually don't say too much. I'll let you guys covered it well. But I want to add, like, the Pitts play, nothing to do with tight end week or anything. It's got to be phenomenal if London is out. The immediate reaction is going to be everybody to go to the moon with Mooney. Like, we love it, SHIPIT Nation. We love the little correlation there. But at the end of the day, Bijan's already super popular. It's a way that people will be thinking of, oh, if I can get off Bijan and go with this, let me do that. I think Pitts is right there at the same price as all those other tight ends. He's a guy that could pick it up, and you got to play a onesie position. We saw this last year with the game for the Steelers, when Pickens was out, everyone jumps on Calvin Austin III, Freiermuth, who we'll be talking about later tonight, but that's an example of that happening. It doesn't matter if it works. Again, it matters if it works out for your lineups, but we're only talking about concepts, how to play the game. That's a key one. Another one that I'll say, just the second piece here, is the HN stuff. I think his ownership moonwalks back from what we currently have it at. We'll have final updates before the slate hits and locks, but he's already popping on the stone as it is. On the opposite side, if this game flows, if the game script flips, what if it's Tua sick? And so they hand it off more. And it's not like Atlanta can't get beat on the ground. If anything, why wouldn't they want to keep Bijan off the field? And I think one of the things I was going to say today, and I don't care about jinxes, you guys know I don't care about any of this stuff. I've been wrong twice this season in saying that it's going to be a lower scoring slate, and then it still goes off. I don't know on this slate, but one thing I do know is that when you have a lot of concentrated chalk and it does bust for once, that is when you get the lower scoring slates, because there's not many separators in the lineups. Only a certain set of lineups have more separators. Achane is for sure a separator today, that if you get him right and it's opposite side of Bijan, you're still covering that game. You still have plays within a game that you think can go back and forth, but it could be a spot that is a ceiling score you need versus one that you don't. And maybe it's Achane and Pitts as like a secondary, because Pitts would hurt Robinson. Achane could hurt the game flow. That's two ways to do it. But I think it's at least somewhat interesting in this game. And maybe it ends up being just like Cousins, Pitts, Achane as a mini stack. So again, I'm looking to look for these scenarios specifically on this slate as ways to get different and then fill it out from there. But there is bases I want to cover within these games. The last one, I said it already, but it was Falcons as a way to pair up. It looks like they'll be maybe the third highest owned of the of the expensive defenses. So I think that the Falcons would be an interesting one just to pair with Robinson. If Tua is actually not feeling well, or if it goes bad, or if it isn't HN, that's a way that you can get different. So a few different ways to play this game separately. Waddle pops as well. Hoop, anything else you want to add there? If not, we're going to my favorite team, the Ravens, at home versus the Bears with Snoop Huntley, former Pro Bowler, by the way, Snoop Huntley. But go ahead.
Yeah, that is funny. So, with Lamar out, I mean, that whole situation, pretty weird. Full participant, then switched to not playing. And I guess the NFL is investigating, like, who the hell knows? I mean, it really doesn't matter. All we care about is Huntley is starting, Lamar is out, and it does a couple things for this game. Derrick Henry was looking to be very, very popular at 6K. still going to get some ownership. We were kind of talking pre-show. It was looking to be like 30%. I think it's probably upper teens now. If you still believe in Derrick Henry in this spot, you're getting him at much lower ownership than if Lamar Jackson was in. And I think this offense, we said it all along, and everyone said it all along, like, Cooper Rush, and they're not the. What, was Huntley hurt as well? Why weren't they starting Huntley?
They're donkeys.
I don't know what the whole situation was.
They put him in at the end of the fourth quarter, like, to try and get a spark, and it was like fourth and 13, and he used his legs for a first down. I mean, they're just.
But why were they going Rush over Huntley? Just because they're
NFL GMs and quarterback coaches. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, this way obviously makes way more sense, and they're favored. Like, if Rush was starting, that's the one thing that these people need to look at. If Rush is starting this game, it's probably a pick 'em. Huntley's in there, and they're favored by 3. Like, that should tell you all you need to know. And the offense actually, I think, has a chance today. They're projected to score 24, 25 points. That's a legit number. Zay Flowers is cheap. I mean, that's another situation. Zay Flowers is going to be one of the most popular wide receivers on the slate with Lamar in. Now he's not going to be very popular at all. So again, if you believe in this offense, if you believe in Huntley at all, it's probably a good spot to capitalize on some lower ownership, lower than what it would have been. And I'm in on it. Henry, I'm still going to play a lot of. I think they have to win this game. That's the other thing. Like, if they lose this, even with Lamar coming back, they'd have to probably win out to make the playoffs. So this is a big game for them. I think they lean on Henry a lot here. So I'm in on the Henry stuff. Huntley's cheap enough. Zay Flowers, fine with that. I don't love the spot for the Bears. They're coming off a win. Baltimore's going to be hungry. This Baltimore defense just can't be as bad as we've seen this season. So the Bears stuff, a little bit tricky for me. I don't really love much of it. But I mean, my favorite play by far is Henry, and then I'll have some Huntley and Zay Flower combos, but I don't really see myself playing Bears today.
Yeah, one thing I thought about title was this, and I was back and forth on this. I talked about it the other day, and with Rush, and that was the problem. The thing for Henry, he needs some sort of disguise in there the way it's been, right? That's why when I said it all the time, but with like Lamar in there, they're literally shaking the cameraman more than most. Like, the cameraman's getting shook by their moves and who actually has the ball. You don't see that a lot. You weren't going to see that with Cooper Rush. The irony of his last name being Rush is that it never happens. Now with Huntley, you could see it a little bit more. You talked about him. They got him off they signed him to the practice squad. Then they got him onto the active roster. Now you got him back in the game here. And the other thing I forgot about too, follow my own team and just follow during the DFS season, it becomes tough, is coming off the bye week, right? That was the whole thing we were hoping for with Lamar. The total has dropped quite a bit. That's surprise. The guy that could have been the MVP last year is going to move the needle when it comes to the team total. So that does happen, but I still think the Ravens have a chance here at home. They're still 2.5-point favorites. I like the spot. And one thing I'll say about Henry, his ownership is coming down. I'm not sure how much it actually will. We'll see. I think it's significant for sure. I agree with Hoop, but we'll see. But one thing I want to do specifically is think back to how Henry has always won in the past. And the way he wins as a DFS play is typically when his team is in the lead, ahead, pounding against that other squad. And I think this is the spot where I'd like to pair him with the Ravens D, because then that's going to be the way I see this really happening. Huntley can throw the ball still some, but it's like Zay, Bateman. How are you really picking the two different tight ends, all these different factors? Andrews has had a better target share when we've seen it, but I can't really say too much to that because there was a comment. I'm not going to go back and find it, but in someone saying that, like, but don't you remember how bad Pitts has been with Cousins? I literally don't care. Don't you remember how bad my first 7 weeks were of NFL DFS? And then boom, week 6 was bad, and then week 7 was great. So things change on a dime. We only care about today. Huntley and Andrews might not have that connection today for all we know, and it could be a Derrick Henry or Zay Flowers, Bateman type game. But on the other side, you can do things against the Ravens. So I'm more curious, Title, to hear what you think on this Bears side of the game. People are talking about Colston Loveland. People are talking about Odunze. Our man Ham thinks it's a DJ Moore week. Swift, who's been banged up, and we're going to wait on that. But he's $100 less than Derrick Henry. You can definitely run on the Ravens. What's your thoughts on this Bears side in this game as a whole?
I don't like it really at all for a lot of the reasons you just said. You just listed 4 guys that Ham thinks it's this guy. I might think it's this guy. Hoop thinks it's it can't be everyone. If they all do a little bit, it's not enough to hit their 95th percent outcome. So I do not like this game. I also, it's because of Lamar. Like, I would have liked the Bears stuff more if there was Lamar, because I would have trusted him to move the football, get chunk plays. with Huntley, it's definitely better than Cooper Rush, but they're going to try and hand it to Derrick Henry 30 times, just bleed the clock, try and get back to their old defensive football. I mean, I don't know about this defense at all. I just really do not like this game. I'm playing Henry because of the props and just his price tag. Like, the props are really good. He's third on the slate to score at minus 230, and he's 89.5 rushing yards. That's really good at 6K. But I am worried. Like, I liked him so much more with Lamar because a lot of his stuff, he needs touchdowns. To get touchdowns, you have to drive the football. You got to be successful on offense. I don't know if the Ravens will be. I think they can move it a little bit. I think it's a lot of Derrick Henry for 5, Derrick Henry for 4, third and shorts, pick them up, bleed the clock. If that's the case, Caleb and the Bears are off the field. They don't really score as much. There's too many guys over there. And yeah, I mean, we love Zay Flowers on Friday, Hoop and I, assuming Lamar would be playing. It's a completely different ball game now with Huntley. So I don't mind your Ravens call with the Derrick Henry. That's kind of all I like in this game, though. Not nearly one of my favorites.
The props are interesting. What do you say his anytime was again? I just
minus 230. Third on the slate. JT's minus 425. Isn't that insane?
That's nuts. Yeah, I did see that. That's pretty crazy. But the fact that even Henry is still sitting at almost 89 or almost 90 yards,
really good
on the ground, it is a little bit interesting. So something to think about there. Certainly, obviously, you can run on these Bears. They are coming off a bye. They got to get shit together. But like I always say, someone said it yesterday. It was like, oh, and don't forget, it's a must win for the Ravens. I'm like, yeah, those first 6-7 games, who gives a shit, right? It's like every game is a must win in the NFL, especially the way their division's set up. It's still an opportunity. I know, Title, you keep talking about it. I'll get hit with the homer tags, but I really wanted Lamar back this week because I think if they go on a run, the best case scenario is obviously if this happens for me as a fan, but just in general, they get on a run, they get hot enough to get there and sneak in, win the division, or even get the wild, whatever it ends up being. You don't want to see them healthy in the playoffs.
No one wants to see them if they
figure it out. That's a tricky spot. Also, what's interesting is their future odds, which also are like just as bad as these touchdown odds, Hoop, that we make fun of. But I went to look the other day to see what would be a lifetime epic call on the Ravens come back to win the Super Bowl this season, because nothing would put Lamar more on the map than being made fun of forever for not winning Super Bowls or even playoff games barely, but then battling all the way back from this to win a Super Bowl. That would be epic. Oh yeah, it's like 20-1. That's insane.
As soon as you start looking at those numbers, you realize why the sports books do so well. That is just about anything you look at on there, but that is that is so bad. Like,
it's so bad. It's like that is epic. But there's like people in Baltimore that are actually super fans and thinking like I was thinking for just a moment.
I like to know. It's funny you said that because we're not huge into the sports betting stuff. We'll throw our random picks out there and whatnot. But I actually looked at that earlier in the week. I was like, okay, if they, when Lamar was slated to come back, it's like they win today, they go on a nice run here, they have an easy schedule. It's like it's not even worth my time to place that bet. Like, that's not exciting.
How many people look at it and like us and look at it and laugh versus how many people are like, $100, bang, and just do it anyway. They just print on that type of stuff, man. It's crazy. All right.
Go on. Did either of you two see this? I know you were watching some UFC yesterday.
Scary,
with the head kick.
Very scary.
Oh, that was
gosh.
Man, that was just bye. And
one of the
legs started
you got to worry about like the tempo on that shot. It's like he was down for even the Discord, and I went and watched. It's like, oh man, like that guy's still out. How?
Oh, like, he just deaded him. Yeah, that was scary for sure.
That was very scary.
He set up body, go high. I mean, that was nice.
It's very slick for when that's your job and your craft. Very nice connection. You're not trying to kill a guy, but that was just the way it hit and where it hit. That was definitely scary for a minute.
The worst, just real quick, because you opened up the UFC gates, and I want to get Titles to take on this really fast. But dude, what in the world? The worst performance of the slate. I mean, that Almeida dude. What in the world are you thinking? Like, that's like you should just be done. Like, you should just be done fighting at that point.
He damn near did that against Derek Lewis too. All 25 minutes, he was on top and mount.
What's the game plan though? Like, why is he not dropping? Why is he not dropping elbows?
He doesn't want to lose control. He's literally that scared that that's all he has.
Man, they got
really bad. I'm glad the judges did it. I'm glad
100%. That's what I said. You have to do that if you're a UFC. You have to punish that because that's not what it's all about. The MMA. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got it.
We'll keep it moving. I'll stay with you, Hoop. I'll go to Bills at the Panthers. This is another one I mentioned earlier. You're waiting on another Dalton. Some of us are waiting on this Dalton. I'm hoping he'll play. I will say this as I kick it to you. I saw a little beat writer tidbit before we hopped on Dalton Kincaid. Said he was out of the red jersey. He was in the mix. We didn't get any video on him, they said, but definitely looked a lot better. They're also coming off of a bye. Have to remember this, and I know they're going into face off against the Panthers, but on a slate, you said it, Hoop, with bad quarterbacks, there's one who's not a bad quarterback, and that is Josh Allen. So what's your thoughts on the Bills here, and then anybody on the Panthers side with the Red Rocket that you like?
Yeah, not going to be anything crazy for me in this game. Like, I do think Josh Allen's ownership probably comes back even more than what people are thinking. You start building, it's like there's so many cheap quarterbacks. You have the expensive running backs. I think people will leave Allen out of a lot of stuff just to get those expensive running backs in there, get more Jamar Chase. So I do think Allen comes back a little bit. I want some of him. I want some of James Cook, and nothing else really in this game. I mean, I'm fine with some Coleman, some Shakir. If Kincaid is in, fine. If Kincaid's out, I mean, another cheap tight end, Dalton Knox, I'd be totally fine playing Knox at.
Even his name's Dalton now.
Is that what I said?
Dawson.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to click that name. They got Hawes in there too.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be fine with it. Fine. I mean, I don't know.
4, 5,
28. I mean, just a little bit of them. I mean, they use them when Kincaid's out. But yeah, I don't know. Just Allen, James Cook, and the Panther situation obviously very unfortunate with our guy Rico Dowdle. Not getting as much work, and it's just so crazy, these teams. We talk about all the time the coaching decisions, but like, man, how do you not just continue to ride Rico? Like, how do you not continue to do it? And they just are so dumb. They just want to be the smartest guys in the room, and they're at this point, it's safe to say a majority of the NFL coaches are just morons and lack basic common sense. So, but in regards to this game, yeah, Allen, Cook, and then maybe some of these pass catchers, but not super exciting stuff.
Yeah. Can't spell Rico Dowdle without ride, but the coaches don't know that. So instead they run out Chuba Hubbard for 1.8 yards per carry and be like, oh, let me figure this out. Now they're going to bring Rico in. It's like 13-yard blast, 9-yard, first down, etc. Like, you just can't do it. We talked about it last week. I think there is something to be said for this. It's not even really a narrative as much as like when they pay a guy, there is like that feeling of like, we got to get our money's worth versus it's funny because with coaches and with quarterbacks, it's like, sit your ass on the bench for a quarterback. For a coach, take a hike, hit the streets, pal. We'll get you that 20 mil later, but you're done. Get off our bench. But when it comes to a running back or a wide, it's usually like, oh, we got to work them in there, especially when you get some of these billionaire owners like Jerry Jones with Dallas. It's always a proving point with Zeke and things like that we saw for years back in the day. So I don't know. We'll see. Title, I'll go to you. The Josh Allen stuff is always tricky. It's a sort of like a Mahomes situation. Who do you pair him with? I think the Kincaid stuff, if he plays, is most interesting because you have to play a tight end anyway. But just noting it, trying to pick between Coleman, Shakir, etc., makes it tough. And then on the other side, we got Big Tet. Here's my take, and we can bring that up in a second. But just to note, we're going to get to Joe Flacco in the next game. And people make fun of him about his, elite and all this. I'll say it. Hoop talked about it on the Cash Show the other day. The thing that's elite about him is his brain. Let's not try and figure it out. Let's just go to the guy, Jamar Chase, who's the best receiver a million times, and see how that works out. Like, if only everybody else thought like this. Do you think, Title, there's a spot today where we see Andy Dalton just drop back and just throw it a bunch of times to these guys, and it's most likely going to be Tet? Maybe it's a Tet Leggett back and forth. We get those two guys going, but just in general, I think it could be a spot where he just says, forget it. I'm just going to throw these guys and let them drag me along and hope for the best. Any thoughts on that in this game? They do have almost a 20-point team total, which for the Panthers is pretty up there usually. You don't see that too often. I guess some of it's boosted by the running game lately, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I absolutely do. I mean, these veteran quarterbacks they've seen so many defenses when they line up. Like Joe Flacco, I was listening to his after the game on Thursday with these guys, like when he hit Yoshivas in the 40-yard seam route, like he talked about it. He knew what the safety was doing prior. He had to look them off left, that they were bracketing and double. Like, they're just so smart where they know where they're going with the ball pre-flop, pretty much, pre-snap. And that's a big thing. Then you don't take sacks. Some of these younger guys, if their first read's not there, the whole play's blown up. So I do think your best receiver's Tet. I mean, Leggett's been pretty good recently too. I'm not saying play him in DFS, but you have a running game. Like, at least Rico, we're not playing him in DFS. At least he out-touched Chuba, And it's clear as day. I was screaming at my TV like you. 1 yard, 1 yard, bring in the good guy. 13, 12. Like, I think the Panthers moved the ball today. Haven't been impressed with the Bills' defense. You can't play the running game. But Tet looks really good to me. I've kept playing him, but I think Dalton's an upgrade from Bryce Young in terms of just getting him the rock. He's super low owned. This Josh stuff is really, really tilting me. I've tried to build so many teams, like single entry stuff, because it's 900 more than Hurts. He's in a tier of his own. People do like going down at quarterback, so you flip the whole build. And it reminds me of last year when he went, huh? What did you say? Who? Oh, it reminds me of last year when he was playing the Lions at like 5% ownership and just put up 42 or a score you absolutely needed. Like, it's just, who do you pair him with? Is it Coleman? Is it Shakir? Is it Kincaid? Something's telling me, and this is no data, props, nothing to back it up, that it's Coleman, or at least I would want Coleman, because it feels like if someone's going to get me 25, I think it's him. Like, all Shakir's routes, his ADOT's so low. Coleman's the big body. He likes him in the red zone. If Josh completely goes off, I think it's him. But, man, it's expensive to do. Then you run it back with Ted. It's kind of expensive. You just have no room to miss it all, which has me coming in lower than I want. But I was hoping one of you two could push me a little more on Josh stuff.
I'm going to try, because I think it's important to remember what I said earlier. Like, again, it can fail easily, but it's also, this is such a bad quarterback slate. When we're talking up Spencer Rattler, Joe Flacco, some of these other names, which I'm fine with all these guys, by the way, I'm just noting it. It's all a product of what you're doing. Like, everyone should know this and see it. If you don't, this is it. When you're going Flacco with these guys with that, it's to make Bijan or Taylor or so. You're just making the whole puzzle go together, and it works. It makes sense. I get it. But that's the whole thing. If I'm going, like, I love in this spot, I have a lineup that's, I put it in the Mega Milli, actually, and it's currently, I'll just give the three pieces, but it's Allen, Kincaid, and McMillan. And that's how I'm doing it. But then I'm filling it with like explosion options. Like, I'm not just going to the immediate chalk. I know it's already different enough, but what I want is if Josh Allen breaks it with 30 or 40, and then it's these running backs that I have are not who you think they are, and they can get 20 plus each easily. They can get 30, actually. If I said the name's not going to, but just noting it, like, I'm looking for like a ceiling lineup so that it's a bet on ceilings and chalk failing, but I'm still covering the angles. You'd say like, oh, but do you have this guy? Do you have this covered? Like, I got all the angles covered in it, but it's all ceiling options. And I'm hoping that I hit 5 ceilings and some good scores. And that if some of the chalk busts in those spots that I'm covering, that's more than enough to do it. So I'm again, that lineup, I'm playing more for it being a lower scoring slate. I'm hoping for some of the chalk to bust, and that's how I would do it. So I think title, it's got to be pretty particular. I did that one based off of a hand build using the stone, but I think it's more, looking for, our classic, you and I always have the if this, then that. That's the exact thing. If this breaks the slate, anyone who has it probably just piles the rest of the chalk in, and that could be more than enough and work. I'm trying to not have to worry about that, and I'm not going too far off the beaten path. I'm in the right places, just on different guys. I should say, I don't know if they're the right places yet. I'm in the same places as everybody else. I'm just doing it with different guys, and that's how I'm thinking about this right now. So I think this game's interesting.
I also just don't hate James Cook by himself. If you want to do that, they're still implied for 28 points. Carolina is tough against the run, but I mean, at a loaded running back spot, he has to be kind of forgotten. So he's favored to score. I don't hate it.
I'm giving no more, but I will say in this one, I got J.K. Dobbins as a prime example. He's got a 51-point total. No one's talking about it. They can spread it out a ton. It's hard to figure out those guys. That's like the one most random play. The rest are all really good plays in really good spots, and that's not one of the running backs that can hit 30. So it just tells you a few more pieces about it, but just saying it's not about that lineup. It's about explaining that on this slate, I'm very comfortable with being uncomfortable, looking for ceilings in these spots. I'm trying to win it all. And it's so top heavy in these tournaments. People are playing 150. Well, some aren't anymore. Some went broke in week 2, 3, 4, and they don't play anymore. But that's another story. So Jets at the Bengals. I'll go to you, Hoop. Joe Flacco, I mentioned. Jamar Chase, though, you said this also on the Cash Game Show, which I know a ton of people are tuning into. But I think it's a great way, if people don't know, just to get a good idea of the slate, the overview of what's going to be the chalk, and then how you can get different with it. And I loved your saying on that. You said, look, everyone will say that the pricing's tighter because of these running back prices. But what really happened is the running back prices became correct. What they did not correct is the wide receiver prices. And Jamar Chase is way underpriced. We haven't seen this since $7K or $7,300 Puka. that week where it was like, okay, that's just insane. This is basically the same thing so far, but we'll see how it works out. Go ahead, Hoop.
Yeah, I appreciate the multiple call outs for the cash show. It means a lot to me in title. So thank you for that. In regards to this game, yeah, I mean it's a misprice. What was it? 23 targets, I think, last week. I mean 23, and we talked about it a lot on the cash show, and a lot of people have obviously talked about it, not just us. It's like, okay, you have Jamar Chase, you come into the offense and you just throw the ball to Jamar Chase, and really, really good things happen when you just continue to pepper the best wide receiver in the NFL. You go out and they won an upset, and now they're in a really good spot moving forward because Flacco knows how to get the ball to the good players on the team. And that talk that I believe title you had about the post game thing, he's experienced, and he's going to get rid of the ball quick, and he's going to get it to Jamar Chase. He's going to get it to T. Higgins, who I think is a really, really good play today, which we'll get to. And it's just better for the offense. And they're projected now to score 25 points. If the other dude's in there, they're projected to score probably 20 or 18, and they might be an underdog to the freaking Jets today, which would be wild. So, Flacco in there just makes this team relevant again and productive. And for fantasy purposes, it's good on a slate where we just don't have a lot of standout quarterback plays. I think he's totally fine. I mean, Jamar Chase, Higgins, you got a running back that can catch passes as well. So from a fantasy perspective, it's a really good spot, I think, for the Bengals. And, everyone's going to play Jamar Chase. Totally get that. Like, he's way too cheap. But T. Higgins, not much ownership. It could go to T. Now, I do think it probably continues to go to Jamar Chase. But, man, like, Higgins can get in there too, and then Chase Brown can catch passes. And I do got to give a shout out to our guy because he's nailed these. Our guy Landa's been with us forever, and he keeps nailing these defensive calls. And he's on the Bengals D today. I think it's a great call, great play. I'm going to bump my Bengals defense exposure after seeing his tweet this morning. So I'm definitely in on the Bengals D. I mean, look at this Jets offense. I mean, so now they all week, like these these coaches are so painful. The guy, the Lions, what's his name? Aaron Glenn, right? Trying to play coy with the reporters about who the starting quarterback is going to be and make it seem like they're hiding what they're going to do. Your team fucking sucks, man. No one gives a shit what you're going to do. You're going to lose. The team is just terrible. Like, you don't play those games when you have a shitty team. Like, if you have a good team, then you play those games. Oh, I don't know who's starting this week, blah, blah. You're 0 whatever. Like, you don't get to play the games. Like, we're looking for a competitive advantage by not naming our starter. You lose that ability when your team is super shitty. So he played the game all week. Now it's Field starting. Doesn't matter at all. That's the funny part about all this stuff with like the starting quarterbacks, when like the starter shifts and then the betting line doesn't move at all. So like everyone thought it was going to be Tyrod all week. They were 6-point underdogs. They named Justin Fields the quarterback. They're 6-point underdogs. So like, you're not doing anything, man. Like, whatever you're trying to do didn't work. Your team sucks, and it's a bad spot for the Jets. I mean, no Garrett Wilson either. Their wide receiver and Josh Reynolds. Their wide receiver one is it Alan Lazard, I guess. It's going to be a disaster.
Baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rodgers' boy.
Yeah. That's true. Mason Taylor to me is the wide receiver one. I will have him. We've been on him as a solid tight end play. I think he's totally fine. 3,500. If they have any offensive success, it has to come through Breece Hall, 6,100. Don't hate that. And then, I don't, after shitting on the whole situation, don't necessarily hate playing Fields. I mean, he has multiple touchdown upside on the ground. So really like the Bengals spot here, though. That's the main part for me. You don't need to have a run back if you play the Bengals stuff. This could be a big game for them. I mean, they looked really good offensively last week. They could definitely follow it up here and put up a big boy score. So I'm in on the Bengals stuff, and it's nice because it's like, Jamar Chase, Higgins, and then Chase Brown if you want, and then obviously Flacco. It's condensed still. So like the spot.
Yeah, Bengals D, Land had mentioned, and also talking about putting it with Chase Brown. It's kind of the flip. I don't know that we'll see Chase Brown. I think he'll moonwalk back from an ownership perspective as well. You can afford him fine, but I just don't think a lot of people end up there. It doesn't seem to be the way that they're building. But people are playing the Bengals D, and likely for good reason. The biggest thing on the Jets side title that moves it for me a little is the setup of Fields playing. Like, I actually think it's good to be able to drive Flacco, Chase, Higgins, all the stuff that we want there. It's a condensed offense. the same spot that I was at the week that I had the Stafford setup with Stafford, Puka, and Adams. Didn't fully work out, but it got there for a lot. And one of our members, Jay Walken, had it for 100K straight. This is the same setup. It's like Jamar Chase popping off the page. If he has the actual ceiling game that's needed, it's very likely to come through Flacco, and Higgins has been getting involved a ton. And also the nice thing about it being week 8 and us having DVP and knowing the numbers and even the stuff everyone talks about, Sauce Gardner is also out, and they actually weren't that great even with him, just of note, now that you can go back and see the numbers. So I think there's a ton of issues on that side. I like when you're not on the passing game to play Chase Brown with the D. I also like when you're not on the full passing game. My guy Alex talked about it yesterday on Leverage Lane, and Hoop mentioned at the top too, is maybe just T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a nice little one-off at 5,600. I think it was 10 targets last week. I mean, Flacco can switch gears and move it around, but it's likely between those two, and 5,600 can really help your lineup versus 8,100. If you want a way to get a little bit different, I'd feel more comfortable with him as a one-off than, Jamar Chase always works, but it's oftentimes if he's going to have the actual ceiling game, it's likely to bring a $5,400 quarterback attached to him along. So we'll see how that goes. Anything on the Jet side, and then you could talk about the rest of the game title, but just curious on the Breece Hall, Lazard, Mason Taylor, our guy Stat mentioned it, could be wide receiver 1 for them. What do you think of this Jet side?
Yeah, well, Jets, not only Sauce is out in the secondary, they're without 2 other DBs back there. So, I mean, they're completely depleted. Yeah, I hate to do it, but I like some of these Jets. I'm gonna play Fields. I see a couple people in chat like I have a Fields problem. He's 5K with someone that can be stone dead at halftime, like he showed against the Dolphins, and then walk into 25, 26 DK points because of the script. And the ownership isn't really going to be there. It's not a name people want to click. With someone with that rushing upside, it's not like the Bengals defense has been great. Yeah, I mean, Rodgers lit them up. I guess I was going to say they looked a little better. They actually didn't. And when you play Fields, you can play him naked. You can play him with Mason Taylor. I don't know how much I love playing him with Breece, but in Joe Flacco, Jamar Chase, Higgins stuff, Breece is going to be someone I look to run back. I think he moonwalks back just because, I mean, he has a real price tag, and it's the Jets. I think people are really hesitant to click on, and rightfully so, on these Jets names, and you can go Rachaad White and other stuff. He's still like his receiving rushing prop is almost at 90. He's plus 110 to score. He can catch dump offs. Yeah, Davis has been cutting into his workload a little bit. I do just, because I like Chase so much, I feel like I want to try and get someone to push Chase a little bit, which would either be a Taylor, a Fields on the ground, Breece Hall. So I will be playing some of these Jets run backs, probably more than the field when I am playing Chase stuff.
Yeah, one note too, this is the first spot for it. It will, you could tie this in a couple different ways actually, so I'll bring them both up now. There's a couple spots on this slate, like a Chase Higgins situation where it's like you could play Fields, Chase Higgins, and just hope that Chase's game is big enough, isn't the full way for Flacco, and you have and you don't want to figure out who Fields is, but you're still saying Fields will push this game. It's like a more advanced setup of it. It's not about the $400. It's like we know Fields could rush 2 in and get there on the ground. And then, Jamar Chase does enough. T. Higgins is good, but that's kind of the setup you could set that up with. You also could do it if you can't afford Jalen Hurts, who we'll get to later. I could see a different way to play like Devontae Smith and Goddard is with like a Fields as well. It's going to get, again, does it make way more sense with Hurts? Yes. And because if they actually ceiling out, it's going to help Hurts, et cetera, et cetera. But if Fields does the same number, there's not going to be many lineups with Hurts, Devontae Smith, and Goddard that can afford the running back boost you just got or the non-2 tight end lineup you just got. It's a more advanced concept, but it's a way to do it where, people don't always see it. Oh, that doesn't correlate at all. It's about making everything work for the entire slate. So there's things like that you can do as well. I do think this game is at least somewhat interesting, getting the fact that Justin Fields could show a ceiling, could push this, and then it would make everything a lot better for a back and forth here. Big boy team total, though, for the Bengals at home, definitely considering that and keeping that top of mind. Title, I'm going to stay with you. We'll go to this next game. It is the 49ers at the Texans. There's some value plays here that we can use to make things work. I know Hoop is chomping at the bit, so I left him hanging on this one because we're about to talk about Dalton Schultz, the super sleeper on this slate, but we'll get there. Nobody better than Hoop at calling the best chalk of the week. Quinshon Judkins last week, by the way, was a nice one, but that pierces title a little bit. So I'll kick this one to title first.
Yeah, it's like Schultz is going to be the highest owned tight end. I'll let hoop stroke him. Jalen Noel, I think he looks good, a very viable 3.5K receiver. They're just so depleted. No Kirk, no Nico. That's pretty much where I ended on the Texans stuff. And for the Niners, George Kittle, I mean, that price, talk about National Tight End Day, 4.5K. I'll just embrace that. They're still beat up in the receiving room. So he has upside. And then McCaffrey is just someone that can't really be played because of his price. Like JT's only 500 more. Bijan's 200 less. Saquon's 1,400 less. It's not a great matchup. I'm not going to say I love it, but I mean, anytime you're talking about a low-owned Christian McCaffrey, you can't go wrong. It's more appealing on FanDuel, where JT's 10.2, Bijan's 10K, and McCaffrey's 9.1. So pricing on both sites is very different there. You get more of a discount on FanDuel. Ownership will kind of reflect it, but I don't even think that much. I still think people will find the money to go Bijan or JT on FanDuel, and he'll still be low-owned with the discount. So maybe I prefer him a little more over there. However, then I say it out loud, and full point PPR on DK does fit him well. So don't love this game. I think I'm mainly coming here for value, and it's Schultz and Noel.
Yeah, one thing I thought about Hoop was I got a couple thoughts, so I'll kick it to you because I know there's some stuff here, but the Kittle spot at just 4,500, everyone's talking about these low prices on certain players. I saw somebody posted out there on X. I appreciate them. I don't have the reference, but it's not my stat, but someone said it's his lowest price on DraftKings since 2018, $4,500 for George Kittle. So that's pretty wild to think about. And then because he's the opposite side, he's a little bit more than Schultz, et cetera. You can play both, whatever you want to do. And then the other thing is just thinking about if you're not playing McCaffrey, you're not playing Kittle, there's already, injuries and things going on the 49ers side. Could you just play the Texans D? You do the game log thing with the kickers. I love. If you look at the game log for the Texans, it's not bad. It's like double digits every game, 10, 11, 12. It's not horrible for 3K. So what's your thoughts on this game and any of those thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with your points there. I think very solid. It is a tough game. I mean, the total is low, so I definitely don't hate that call. I've been looking at 40, 41. The plays fantasy-wise are clear. Like, I think you have two of the best values for pass catchers on the slate. Noel, who looks solid. I think it was like 7 targets. It was like 4 catches for 78 yards, and he looked talented. So I like him on both sides. 4,500 on FanDuel, 35 on DK. And these plays always get held in check. People always get worried about the ownership, but it's always held in check for the most part. The cheap tight ends don't get held in check, and Dalton Schultz is going to be very popular. And I like Schultz. You guys obviously know that. He had 8 or 9 targets last game, but there's other guys too. I mean, we got Goddard now without AJ Brown. We got Mason Taylor, who's fine. So I do like Dalton Schultz, but there's other guys that are fine as well. So I do think he's a strong play. And then Christian McCaffrey, I think you got a nice little secondary stack here. Like, you can play McCaffrey at it has to get squeezed. I mean, people are going to prefer Jonathan Taylor. People are going to prefer Bijan Robinson. With A.J. Brown out, Saquon Barkley's ownership has come up a little bit as well. People are still going to play Derrick Henry. People are still going to play Rachaad White. I think he's the one, because of the price, that gets squeezed a little bit, and I want to be there. So you got a nice little secondary stack mixed in here if you want it. Like McCaffrey, Noel, Schultz, and it's cheap and has leverage built into it. So I like that. And then Kittle is fine too to mix in there. We nailed the bet of the week last week, and it was like really no sweat. And maybe it's one of those things where, it seems too good to be true, but how in the world are the Texans favored in this game? Like, how are they favored? That was awful. Who'd they play last week? Can't remember. It was so bad. Was it that was just terrible.
It was on
Seattle. Yeah. I mean, they ended up losing by 8. They should have lost by 20. I know they got a BS touchdown at the end.
I like exactly how the game played out, for the record. It played out perfect.
Yeah, it played out perfect for you. Absolutely. It played out perfect. But man, I just take the 49ers to win. It's plus 115 or plus 110. If you're betting, put that into your portfolio today. 49ers are a much better team. I don't understand how the Texans are favored in this game. Just shocked. They don't have any pieces on offense. Their offensive line is terrible. Stroud has looked terrible. The 49ers have looked good. Maybe it's just one of those spots in the NFL that seems too good to be true. Could be the case, but I'll put my 1-0 record on the line and go with the Niners today. Just the Niners to win. You don't even need the points.
All right. Before I go to title on this game, do our customary marketing / advertisement. So just take a 30-second break. We'll let you guys know exactly. This one is brought to you by YouTube and the thumbs up button and how to use it. It's very easy. There's almost 900 people watching. If you are one of those people that are in the 900 that are watching, you simply click the like button here with the thumbs up. It gets us or more play in the algorithm. It helps grow the show. The show is free. We appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you for coming into my Tambo talk. We'll get back to the show. Title, I'll go to you. We've got another spot here for you to bring up. This is the 49ers at the Texans. One thing I want to say before I kick it over is, what's that?
New England, Cleveland, or are we going back to that game?
I want to say one more thing to you on this one, because is there anybody that you can see on this slate that's $6,800 that's going to get 17 targets today?
Probably not. I'll have to go look.
Probably not is the answer. And
no.
I will say that's one of the
Igbuka, 7K.
Yeah, maybe Igbuka. Yeah, you're right. He's 7K or something, going to get that. But just of note, the chat might have hit it once or somebody brought it up. I do want to bring this up, though. I think one of the most interesting ways to play Schultz is just to play Noel with him and just play them both together as the combo pack. It's $6,800 for the two of them. It fills it up. We have a good stack ranking on the Texans. I know that O-line and the setup of CJ Stroud and everything scares everybody, and I get that. But at the end of the day, that is a pretty good way to do it. And I think Hoop's right. As much as Noel is going to be a popular value play, it's my analogy I always give, Title, of like before we go to the next game, but it's the same analogy we always get of if there's 100 people in a room and you're like, damn, I need to get rid of some of these people. Well, it's nice to get rid of 90 of them. And if Noel comes in at like 10% in the Millie Maker or something like that, that's 90 out of every 100 lineups that you just kicked out of the room if that ends up working out. So it's definitely a way that you can get different. Nothing says that you need to have Stroud with them in that spot, because it's just $6,800 for two guys and they could pile up, whatever between them. But I at least think that's somewhat interesting. I was just going to kick that to you before you take us into the next game.
Yeah, I'll definitely find playing both together. The problem is I just don't think I'm playing Stroud. I mean, there's so many good, cheap quarterbacks that I think can get there today. I just think you really need the nut script, and that requires no Woody Marks or Nick Chubb, probably the over to hit. But yeah, I'm totally good playing them both together. Like the A-dots on these guys aren't really long. I mean, CJ can dump it to Schultz for 6 yards. If he has 7 or 8 catches, that's how you rack it up that way. So yeah, I like the combo pack.
Okay, I'm with you on it then. I wanted to make sure I just wasn't crazy, but I think it is a setup of, if you're doing that, that's another thing, like I said, that you can just make a ton of things work and get different in all those other spots, or still find the ceiling elsewhere, but take that from those guys where at least you feel a little bit more comfortable about it based on the injuries that they have.
Yeah, a lot of injuries on the Niners defense too to help those skill position players.
100%. I'll stick with you, Ty. I'll let you take over. Browns at the Patriots. All season long, people have kind of wanted Drake May. I still see Diggs. Diggs is the name that just always pops in projections, but everyone's like dying to unclick it or move it out of their shit. Like, how am I getting this much Diggs, or what's going on here? I don't want this. What's your thoughts this week on the Patriots at home versus the Browns?
The problem with the Patriots is, I mean, we said it last week, Drake May is getting in that Mahomes territory of just who are you playing with? I guess you should just play him with Booty every week. He seems to be the guy, but the second you click him, it'll be a Diggs or a Hunter Henry or Pop Douglas or Ramondre Stevenson. Like, it's a good football team because they can spread it out and beat you in a lot of different ways. And Drake May's legs. I just think, I don't love picking on the Browns. Their front seven's really good. They can slow games down. The slate, I think, has enough cheap quarterbacks and more concentrated spots. Like, I'm just not really getting in this game much, and I feel fine with it. But Drake May can break any slate. He's a pretty good NFL quarterback. Judy, Diggs, I think I'm fine with his one-offs, but the defenses on both sides, Pats and Browns, I think, are two ways, my favorite two ways to go about it. 2,500, a good cheap defense if you need. Patriots, if you're spending up 3,600. I mean, Dylan Gabriel, what do they call him? The computer, I guess. This dude, the computer might be broke.
Malfunction, baby. This guy might be crushed after this game. Our man Tom Brady is gray. Said Vrabel was a consultant for the Browns last year. Knows the team very well. New England might skull F Cleveland. So we'll have to see, Hoop. But what's your thoughts on this game? Pat's D definitely makes sense. 3,600, I get it. But there's a lot of options on this slate too. Cheaper. And then, like I said, you even have some scenarios where you've got options that are right underneath them that still make sense too, with the running backs, things like that. So thoughts on the Patriots at home versus the Browns?
That's a tough team for sure for fantasy purposes. Like, Drake May has been great, but the problem is, like, who do you pair him with? And when you think you have it figured out, it's Booty. So maybe it is Booty. I don't know, but I can't play Booty. I'll have some May with Diggs, with Henry. Not super excited about it. It'll just be kind of part of the portfolio. Ramondre Stevenson, if he got into some teams, I'd be fine with it. They're favored by 7 at home, but this game total is sitting at 40. Patriots 23. I want to be more in on May because he looks really, really good, and he's had some really good fantasy performances. But like when you start looking at roster construction, it gets difficult. I'm not playing any Browns. I think I have Jerry Jeudy in there, and it would just be like a little bit of him, and that's it. But not super excited for this one. I do like your point, though. It's like you start building these teams, and then Diggs just continues to show up because of the price tag. But, man, it's tough. Hunter Henry should be low owned, though. I mean, we got these cheap tight ends and more cheap tight ends. So maybe it's him then. Let me just pull this up real quick. I'm curious on Hunter Henry's ownership. It has to be low with all these other guys. He does have
You got like 3% right now.
Yeah, so if you're playing a bunch of teams, I like some Hunter Henry. That would be the guy, I guess, if playing May.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add. I love the comment in the chat. If you're a boomer like us, you got to remember this one: Control-Alt-Delete Browns off. This guy Dylan Gabriel, the computer, malfunction. Got to hit Control-Alt-Delete to get this thing fired back up. We'll see if that works out, but it at least feels right why people are keeping May and those guys in check. Like even the Diggs stuff, we always have like a little bit of ownership because ownership's hard, especially when it comes to, how millions and other people are thinking, all these combinations that you can do. It's the setup of maybe he gets some, but we know Booty, Henry, May, lower than we've seen all season. Jeudy on the other side, like nothing. If you got here and it ends up being the spot, great. It's a tough one to think about. I like the Patriots.
How about the Jeudy Booty combo?
Oh man, that's a good one.
Jeudy Booty.
That's one in a while.
Yeah, right. Get that Jeudy Booty.
Jeudy Booty.
Could be.
Yeah, I like that call. Okay, maybe that could be a little secondary stack. But
here you go. The Jeudy Booty combo may work out this week.
May not as well. So
the Jeudy Booty combo may or may not work out this week.
I'm gone for a couple minutes. We got a whole minute talking about these little one-liners or whatever.
Right? I'm getting a little bit better.
Dad jokes. I'll join in a couple months.
Yeah. Dad jokes, exactly. He's joining the fam soon. That's the thing. So, all right, Title, you're back. I'm going to go to you. This is definitely some cash game landscape things as well as others, but there's some good tournament stuff here too, I think. So we've got the Giants at the Eagles. Hurts, Devontae Smith, Goddard definitely works. It pops off the charts in our stack rankings. I think anybody who's talking about anything this week with DFS is saying, look, I'd like to beat it with something else, but that looks pretty good on paper. We're missing A.J. Brown. We could see a bunch of targets, all these different factors. It's a bad rush D. It's a bad D. It's the Giants, simple and plain. So give us your thoughts on this one, any ways you have. Maybe we can get different with it.
The problem is I really don't have ways to get different. Like playing the Eagles defense in it, you can play Hurts, Devontae, Goddard, Eagles D. Just hope it's all of them and they smash. I just think I have to get different in other spots when I'm playing it. Like Devontae and Goddard are two of the chalkier guys on the slate. It's easy to play Hurts with them. I mean, you get the rushing upside, more concentrated without AJ. I really don't know how I get different. Like a Wandale, I think would be my favorite run back, and I am fine with that. But do I love it on this slate? Not really. Darius Slayton's coming back. Theo Johnson. I mean, Dart's been a gamer. He's been fun to watch for sure. Brutal loss last week, but that's another story with how bad these coaches are. I truly just don't see how I can get different in this spot. I'm playing a lot of Goddard. I'm playing a lot of Smith. Saquon, I'm playing some of, but man, it's been tough this year. Like the offensive line isn't opening up the holes like he's been used to. And they're always the tush push concern. The prices come down though, especially on FanDuel. 8.1K on FanDuel is almost daring you to play them. But sometimes when that's the case, when ownership is just keeps getting raised because the price and the name, like there's a lot of good running backs. Opportunities tough at running back. So I'd be lying if I like Saquon. I'm going to play some. Props are fine. It feels like one of these spots. I like the passing game a lot more, though. I just truly don't know how to get different besides when I am playing the Hurts, Devontae, Goddard stuff. I need to get different at other spots is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could, like, there's guys on the other side, of course, whether it's Robinson, who's being held in check, 12 targets last week, could have an even bigger game. He's had, decent spots throughout the season. Our guy Sean talked about Darius break the Slayton. He's back in the mix. You could see that as a way to just, cut into the stack ownership on the other side. But I think you have to do like Barkley with the Eagles D, or like Jalen Hurts naked, maybe even with the Eagles D, like just something like that. Cause they are slated to put up 26, I think, at home is the team total number. It got to come from somewhere.
You're going to play Hurts naked. You're going to play some?
I don't know exactly what I'll get to till after the show, but I'm saying I'm just trying to think of ways to get different with it. It would be a way because you would just be taking it's a $6,600 quarterback that could rush in 2 to 3 touchdowns. It's the tush push stuff is always an advantage. And every single one of those rushes Hurts, Barkley, not Hurts, does not help. Barkley, Smith, and Goddard. And I've had that one before. Sometimes it's not Jalen Hurts, it's Jalen helps, and he helps the team just put up all the points, and it really does affect the other guys on the squad. So it's not ideal, but it's on this slate. It actually is a way to flip it and get a bit different, and then you end up filling it out. I will say this, Devontae Smith, 5,900. There's like 5 receivers in that price range that you could all see where he has a good game. He gets you his prop, whatever it is. He gets you like 6 for 81, doesn't get in the ball. I don't remember what his yardage is, but let's say he gets you like just over his yardage prop. He gets you 6 catches. It's a solid 14, 15 type points you see, but no touchdown. You could have a bunch of receivers that break him for 20 to 30 range. So that would be another thing where you've got like Hurts, like a Hurts Higgins is an example that you could just play those two and not have Smith. And you're hoping that Hurts does the work. And then it's Higgins really beats Smith, which also really beats Chase. It's like a double whammy of moving it all around. Hoop, you got other stuff to add on this spot or anything else you're thinking?
Yeah, we just got Hyatt news quick. And not that it matters, but he'll be inactive. If you want the Slate and Wandales, it gets a little more concentrated.
We're getting like no news this morning, and that's a story. That's crazy.
Something's going to happen today. But you've got to mention a little Jordan, a little boost for Jordan.
There you go.
The one thing that definitely stands out to me on the Eagles side, like I just don't love this Devonta Smith ownership. Like if you're playing a lot of teams, then yeah, you can get some exposure. But if you are like hand building teams and like you're falling on Devonta Smith, there's just like Tambo said, there's so many different guys there. Like to me, just play somebody else than Devonta Smith. Like obviously, if you're playing Eagle stack, then yeah, you can include him in there. But if he's your last guy in or whatever, if you're building a team and you need a wide receiver in that range, I would probably play anyone besides him. Is what I'm trying to get. I do like Goddard though. I know the ownership has come up quite a bit, obviously, but I think he's fine. I'm sticking with the Barkley stuff. I mean, dude's too talented. It just has to happen at some point. You got AJ Brown out. The price is at an all-time low. You have other running backs that people are still going to play. So the ownership can't get out of control on Saquon. The price on FanDuel is the lowest it's probably ever been. I think is it 8,100 title, I think, right? 81.
Yep.
Yeah, 8,100. Like I have to play it. Like they're missing AJ Brown. I know he has not had a huge season, but that's substantial. And if they're going to score the 26 points that Vegas says they're going to score, like it's got to come from some of these guys. So I'm in on it. But like the one thing for sure is like with Devonta Smith, like if it's like a one-off situation and you need a wide receiver in that range, I think you're probably better suited playing somebody else. Run backs would just be the pass catchers, Wandale, and I'm fine with some Darius Slayton, but not thrilled with the Giants here. And I do think they can win this game. Someone posted it. Like, I think the Giants are better. I think the Giants are pretty an average team. Okay. Let's say that they're an average team. Like they smoked Denver. They were smoking Denver in Denver the entire game. And then, they just got stupid with coaching decisions. Like we talk about all the time. You can say that about basically every team, but Denver's a hard place to play in. They went in there and their defense, laid it down in Denver. So I think the Giants can win this game. If they win it, it's probably an ugly game. But with AJ Brown out for fantasy purposes, I am going to be on the Eagle stuff. My favorite part of the Eagle stuff for sure is Saquon. It has to happen at some point.
Yeah, one of the things that gets talked about, Alex brought it up yesterday, like Marquee Sports, still got that logo. He's really following the marketing plan over there, but says, Hoop saying you don't need to jam Smith in if you land on him. He was saying that, but Alex talked about it yesterday too, is like as a one-off, I get the injury stuff and what makes it good. And in cash, you just play whatever. Like he obviously is great at 5,900. It makes a ton of sense. But in the tournament, like you have to think about it. If his ceiling is 30, let's say, or 25 to 30, if he gets there on like 10, 175 and a touchdown, that's still really helpful, but that's also only one touchdown for the Eagles. How else do the others get in there? It's probably with Barkley, Hurts, whatever. Like there's going to be stacks that would bring it that way. If he gets there on 2 touchdowns, that's already 2 touchdowns you're likely giving to Hurts. So it's like when you have him as a one-off in these large field tournaments, it's not saying it can't work. It's saying why it becomes very tricky because most people have it overstacked and they're just going to sort of come up over the top of you and then you're left behind because you don't have the other stuff that makes that work. So I think it's interesting from that. I would love to be able to get this freaking scat chain. There's a bunch of millies up top today. I just want to get that chain so bad just for the bit. But I don't know if I can get to him here in this spot. Maybe he's a way to get different with some of those stacks.
You're not playing any? You're not trying to get that chain that bad?
I have to. You know I'm playing it for the bit. Of course I am. I literally blow money. I'm coming off a big winning week. I'm definitely blowing some scat money. But
what about the grills? You seen that? You seen his new grills?
I'm not getting the grills.
No?
I definitely didn't see that yesterday.
Get the grills.
He wins you a million. I did change it up though. I said I'm not. My goal is not to win the Millie Maker. My goal is to get the chain through winning the Millie Maker. So I'll get the chain even if I just win the Millie without scat. That's the new deal. Just to have it. Yeah, why not? Might as well. All right, this next game, got to go to Hoop. If my guy is scat, his is rat. We got Spencer Rattler at home. Hoop tried to call this a couple of weeks ago. Maybe this is the turnaround here. Hoopster, what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, people are playing him, which is a little unfortunate. When I made the call, no one was playing him. Now he's getting some ownership because –
oh, that sounds familiar. Oh, that sounds really familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, people are starting to realize the greatness here. Yeah, I think that's the problem, though. Everyone's kind of on it a little bit this week. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, you know who you're playing them with. It's like you have options, I guess, and you can do it in a variety of ways. You got Olave, you got Shaheed, Juwan Johnson, and then Alvin Kamara you can even play him with. So fine with it. You know, potential trailing game script at home in a dome. I like it. I'm fine playing it. I am way more interested in the other side, though. You know, Baker Mayfield. I think it's a really good spot to go to Baker today. A lot of people are going to be playing Rachaad White. Rachaad White's the one running back that looks underpriced, and he's a really good play. I mean, he can get there in a variety of different ways, but then it's like, man, I can just go to the passing side of this. Baker Mayfield, not much ownership because I think like everyone is looking to, I don't know, maybe go cheap at quarterback, whatever it is, but like I'll take Baker. And you got rushing upside, you got the direct play in Ibuka at 7K. I think he's phenomenal, underpriced. This Ted Johnson guy looks good. He's cheap. And then you get a tight end pivot off the popular guys. Cade Otton, I think, is totally fine. Cade Otton, I believe, it finally started to get some work, like consistent workload. I wanted to pull up the targets real fast just to reference this because I do think he is a good play. 3,400. 9 targets last week, 6 before that, 5. Like Cade Otton is a great pivot off of Schultz and Dallas Goedert, who are going to get a lot of ownership. So I really like the Baker stuff. And then you have run backs on the other side. Like it's like in direct run backs, Olave, Shaheed, you know, maybe Juwan Johnson if you want. So really like the Baker spot today. Obviously still good with Rachaad White. I mean, it's rare to get these running backs that can just get there in any sort of game script. It does not matter. He can catch the passes, goal line work. He does all of it. So it's a really good spot. And I think this is a good game overall, both sides, but I definitely prefer going the Baker side. And it might be like, it's kind of weird when you look at Baker and Rattler, and Baker might be the one that's lower owned, you know, like everyone assumes that it would be Baker that's higher owned, but Baker is lower owned, which is pretty wild to me. So I'm definitely in on it. And I think it's a really good game. Somewhat sneaky game, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely think it's interesting. Shout out to our man, Hamhawk, just dominating the college football beast, CF Beast, I call him. Got it maxed out the college football world championship seats with 5. Won another 20 grand last night, just crushing it across the board. He helps with all of our content over at SHIPIT Nation. So shout out to him to remembering the Sean Tucker spot. And we definitely have seen it was with Bucky Irving, mind you, that was chalk that week when Sean Tucker came in, had a 30-plus point DraftKings game. But just of note, he's remembering that stuff. I like what Hoop said, title. I think it's like all or nothing. don't forget about the Shaheed showcase coming up before he gets traded to the Patriots. So we have to wait and see how that goes. But I think Shaheed, they've talked about it again today, looking to put him on the block. I know, they got to keep him healthy. I always think they showcase it more with receivers versus it's like running backs and things like that. They try and protect, but definitely think you could stack up the Rattler side. The stack rankings look good here. Everybody's got a little bit of steam in this game. Obviously, Rachaad White being the most owned, but how many people are playing 7 guys from this game or 6 guys from this game? I don't know. And so that's where I think you'd have to, it's kind of an all or nothing spot for me when it comes to that. What's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, first, I want to shout out Hammock. Talk about greatness and into like niche stuff. And I mean, he's one of the best college football players. The whole college football team, that is not a sport that I would love to do content for, having to swift through a million beat reporters at D whatever football. Congrats. Prizes are awesome. We've been crushing over here at SHIPIT. Hammock deserves an extra shout out for sure. I didn't know that was his name, Kenny Willman.
Kenny W's, man. They're very special dudes, man. These Kenny W's crush.
Yeah, no, I love this game. I don't really have too much more to add from what you guys said. The appeal of this game is just you can get so many cheap pieces that are good, like Tez Johnson 4.3, Kate Otten 3.4, Shaheed 4.7. I'm going to call Olave still cheap. I mean, they refuse to raise his price. One of these days, they'll find 2 more yards for the bonus. Rachaad White, I'm going to consider him cheap. I'm going to say Buka's cheap without Mike Evans and Godwin. Like, all of these guys feel underpriced. People don't want to click on Baker. It feels like a great bounce back after a brutal game for them on Monday against Detroit. And now, just like Hoop with Judkins, a week later he jumps on. I'm jumping on Rattler this week. I think it's the perfect spot. You can just do so many things. Again, you can play Olave, Shaheed, run it back with 2 bucks. I like this game a lot. I think probably the overhits, prices wise, I mean, 13, 14, 15 from Tez, from Otten. Do you love it? That's fine. It doesn't kill your teams. And I think there's a lot more upside in a dome. Could be a track meet. Shaheed speeds games up. Tez and Ibuka can. Yeah, I really like this game.
What props do we got for Rattler today? Just curious.
For his passing?
Yeah, just give me anything on Rattler right now. I'm just curious about what he's got.
All right, I want to look at his rushing first because he has had some sneaky legs too. He is, 17.5. That's not very good. Passing prop, let's see, touchdowns. We're looking at to score 2+ is plus 138. Oh, it only gets worse as I'm looking at this. His passing yards, 213.5. I just hope he hits the over because those props don't really intrigue me much. But he's so cheap and 4,700 with clear guys to pair him with. And yeah, I think he's been playing better football than I believed the quarterback he was before the year.
All right, I'm with you on that. I think, like I said, it's going to be an all or nothing. It's easy to pair up. Obviously, there's a ton of things that can tilt you here, but the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to get in on all the action here. And I like the Baker side. Baker, Ibuka, Tez, Kate Otten.
Tez is good. He can stretch the field. He's good.
What I'm thinking though is like Kate Otten is already a nice pivot off of Schultz. Like that works fine, and you can use other things in there. But like if you're using Tez, I kind of want it coming from Baker, and then you get Ibuka. You can go through the pass game and leave White out. You could play Baker, White, Otten. All I care about is on the Rattler side is that he can potentially push the game. And I think between all of their options, they can. And we'll have our let's get to 400 likes. We're at almost 300 right now, and we'll do the 2 touchdown takes at the end. That's what we'll save it for. But we only need 100 more likes. So if you're watching this, almost 900 people watching, just take a second, hit the thumbs up button. It's right below. If you're watching it on mobile, it's the same. Not the heart button, the thumbs up. It makes it really easy, and we'll get to that. We got 2 games left to go. Hoop, I'm going to kick it to you. This is interesting. So this game has a 51-point total, and there is like no ownership on anybody. Really, Bo Nix is getting some, sure, but even his pieces with him, nobody knows what to do with it. So what are you doing here with the Cowboys at the Broncos? How are you handling this one?
Yeah, it's interesting because everyone looks at this game and like, damn, I want to be a part of it. But then like you look at ownership and no one is a part of it besides Bo Nix. Like everyone knows they want to play Bo Nix, but playing Bo Nix can be somewhat tricky. Like obviously it's Cortland Sutton with him. And it's kind of wild to me. I figured Sutton would be much more popular than he is, but he really just hasn't had like the explosion game this season. So I think people are hesitant to click it. Like we're showing 12%. Like that's low for a guy that might have, one of the best matchups on this slate. So I think Sutton is a phenomenal play today when you take a matchup into account, the ownership, the price tag. I think he's great. So I want to be all over Sutton. I'm fine with these other guys, Troy Franklin, Mims, keep them in the mix a little bit. I think the problem people are having is going to the other side, hesitant to play Lamb because of the matchup. Who's the cornerback that everyone fears? What's his name?
Surtain.
Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, Surtain. I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, the top wide receivers are better than the top quarterbacks, and you can get switched off. So, like, CD Lamb coming in at, like, no ownership, I am definitely in on that. I think Pickens is fine. And then, I mean, my guy, like another tight end that nobody wants to play, and he's probably been the second best tight end in the league, maybe the first, Jake Ferguson. Like, people don't want to pay him, play him today because of the price tag. I'm definitely in on Ferguson. So all the run backs for Dallas are really low owned. And I think it's clear. I mean, CD, I'm fine with no ownership. Pickens, his price has come up a little bit because of those weeks without Lamb, so that people are hesitant to play him. And then Ferguson prices up. So I love the Dallas run backs at no ownership. Not really interested in the running backs here, Dobbins or Javonte Williams. I mean, to me, the problem with Javonte Williams is he's got a real price tag. Like, he's got a big boy price that he's got to do something very big, and I just don't like him in this matchup. I don't like the Denver running backs today. So for me, it's very clear. It's Bo Nix with any of those pass catchers. Love it with Sutton. I mean, it's very rare you can just play the highest, well, probably one of the highest owned quarterbacks on the slate with their number one pass catcher, and the number one pass catcher isn't going to be super highly owned. I mean, it's a rare situation. So I want to take advantage of that. The other guys and then the run backs are clear, and probably not playing Dak today.
What about the Javonte revenge game, though?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing, I'm not going there.
What are the props, Title? What do we got on Javonte today? Let's do that one.
Javonte, I was looking at the receiver. Hold on.
We got about 90 likes to go to get to the 2 touchdown takes, and I think there's some good ones today. I feel really good about mine. So, let's keep it rolling there while you're looking this up. Javonte, though, is what I was most curious
64 and a half on the ground, and let's see, touchdown. There's a lot of Williams when I search. Minus 130. Not terrible.
I think you just pair those together. If you think it's a revenge game, that could all happen and still not be needed. He can get
for sure
65
one touchdown
on the ground
for
and a touchdown, and he's not paying off $7K almost.
Yeah.
So that's a good bet. Probably not a necessarily needed, unless again he can be needed. Of course, he can blow up the slate. It's a 51-point total. All that. I'm saying more of, if you like that, don't just auto assume that that's what means he needs to go into your lineup. You have to consider the slate dynamics, his price tag, matchup, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So go ahead, Todd. I'll let you take over this game and how you're handling it.
Yeah, man, it's a game that I thought I'd probably get more of, and I'm kind of with the field is getting overlooked, and I'm, I guess, overlooking it a bit. I like Bo Nix a lot, and I really like Sutton. I think Troy Franklin is a very good play as well, like those cheap receivers. I think when people really go down, Knoll will probably be people's favorite, just getting exposure to the highest total. Cheap receiver that's going to be on the field a lot. Mims, I'm fine with them at 39. Obviously, the problem with them is they just rotate 4. Pat Bryant plays a good amount. I'm definitely not playing Pat Bryant, but Sutton's the clear guy. If I'm playing Bo Nix, I don't mind doubling it. And then if I want to run back, Surtain's great. Don't get me wrong. Offense always beats defense. Would I tell myself CD 77.5 receiving props good? I mean, no one, like with Chase right there, everyone's going to click Chase's name, and rightfully so. You have the value. You can play Chase and CD if you want, though. Like if you go Bo Nix, Troy Franklin or something like that, you can get 2 spend-up receivers and go lower elsewhere. So, CD, Javonte, very indifferent to them. We'll have some when I'm playing Bo Nix stuff. Outside of that, though, Franklin, Sutton, 2 guys I'm fine with Bo Nix or without.
I think it's a really good spot to run like Bo Nix, Sutton, Franklin, Lamb. And then it's up to you. You could run like a Chase Brown or a Higgins or some way to get different because you're doubling down on Lamb eating the $8,100 lunch of Chase. Therefore, you pick it up somewhere else. But I think that's just a sneaky way to do it and get a piece of this game where it's like you said. The other thing, too, I will say from the morning, like Bijan lineups, if they don't work out, or what else is something we'll see in the morning that's a little bit more popular? Anything to do with Chase, or I guess like that kind of spent the money already. It's probably
Eagle stuff.
Go ahead.
Devontae Smith, Goddard. No, I was just saying other popular plays. Is that what you were?
Yeah, things that don't work out in the morning where people will be more likely to start moving on to this game and being like, oh, this. Or if people have some low owned stuff in the morning, they might say, damn, now I have the choice. I might not have to go to the other spots and I can just go to this Broncos Cowboys game. So we'll see, but it's definitely interesting that it has such a big total. Numbers haven't really moved. But the other thing is pricing matters, and you look at it too. And I'll go to you, Hoop, for this final game. But before I do, I'll just say, even if you look at the Stone, like it's a good game to target. There's some good stuff there, but as far as like optimal rates and projections and ceilings and all that, a lot of whatever you think is going to happen or could happen is already baked into the price. You know what I mean? It's even if Javonte has a pretty good game, 100-yard bonus and a touchdown, he's still almost 7K. What if for 1,800 more, Bijan has 3 touchdowns and 100 yards, and you still have other people that are needed?
The other thing with that too is like if you like the Denver stuff, you can just play the Denver stuff. You don't have to force in a run back in this situation either. Like it's totally fine just going Bo. If you like Bo Nix and Sutton doing that, and then if you're hand building, find a secondary stack. We talked about a lot of them. I mean, it could be Bijan and Jalen Waddle. Get exposure to that game. It could be that we talked about that 49ers Texans mini as a secondary, like Christian McCaffrey, Noel, and Schultz all together. So you don't have to force a run back on the Dallas side.
100%. I'll stay with you. Final game of the slate. We've got the Colts at home versus the Titans, almost at the 350 thumbs up. So make sure you guys are doing a favor. Hit that thumbs up. We'll get to the 2 touchdown takes at the end. Thumbs up for the Colts at the Titans. We got the last game of the day. Hoop, what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, I think biggest favorite of the season. I mean, and it keeps going up. The Colts are now favored by 15 and a half. I mean, have looked like the best team in the NFL. I mean, most surprising team for sure this year, and they've looked really good. And when they face these bad teams, I mean, they just have beat the shit out of them. Like they beat the shit out of, who was it a couple weeks ago? I think the Raiders. They've just demolished these bad teams, and I expect that to happen today for fantasy purposes. How do they get there? What do you say? Minus 425 for Jonathan Taylor to score. Definitely don't bet that. Like that definitely don't make that that bet. But that is an insane number. Is that what it is? 425?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just never see that. It's just that's probably one of the biggest touchdown props I've ever seen before. And yeah, he probably does score, but if you feel good about it, you're gonna have to put up 425 to get 100 out of it. So the price is up there. He's going to get owned. It doesn't matter. Like if it's not him, the real question is if it's not him, or it still could be him and others, like how else did they score they're projected to score almost 32 points. They're projected to score almost 5 touchdowns today, which is absolutely insane. Like who else does it? I mean, Daniel Jones has been great. You can play him, Pittman, Tyler Warren, and they could score 40 something here. And it could be Jonathan Taylor with Daniel Jones and Warren. You can do a lot of different things here with a team that's projected to score so many real life points. Is Downs in? I believe he's in, right? Like he was out last week. I think he is in. So full complement of pass catchers for Daniel Jones. And like I'm just not playing any Titans guys today.
Yeah, this Titan side is depleted too from defense and whatnot as well. Like you could definitely see that's another one. Title, I'll go to you. I guess. I mean, it's obvious you want to get to Jonathan Taylor if you can. He's 9,500 on DraftKings. He's 10-2. FanDuel's a interesting spot because Bijan's only 200 less, and then you get those discounts on McCaffrey and Saquon. So FanDuel again, really, really interesting this week with their pricing and changing it up a bit that way. I kind of like that, but. It's another spot too. Is he likely to score a touchdown? Absolutely. He's literally minus 425 to score a touchdown.
Just got the big news, and it's definitely. I definitely want to take time to circle back London out, and that changes a lot for today. So we can after this game touch.
We'll go back to it after this game. Yeah, I was just gonna say minus 425. The one thing I'm at 9,500. You're looking for I think 42.5 on DraftKings. Almost like you're looking for a big boy score. Putting those numbers together in a different way. So. Taylor definitely makes some sense. I've got some Jones lineups. I like Jones, Pittman. I like Tyler Warren. Nobody's paying up at tight end this week. And also, again, it's unfortunate it's against the Titans. That's part of it. But we saw the teams that just go off against these Colts. Is there any chance that side? It's hard to pick one and bring somebody back. But if you wanted to roll through it, it would be interesting because it's another cheap stack that would work. Like if you played Ward, Io Manor, DK, and Taylor, that's interesting because you would just fit anything else you wanted. Is it likely to happen? No, but if it does, it'd be like you'd need the Herbert situation where DK is Allen from last week. You could have somebody like Gunnar Helm or someone like that be your Gadsden of last week and hope that they do enough at those prices. But the combined prices on them is, I mean, you're spending like 11 grand on a 3-man stack for the Titans. That's 3 dudes, including a quarterback, a wide receiver, one. High air quotes on that one, but you get what I'm saying, right? There's an interesting setup there where at least it makes the Taylor play easier to roll with, pushes them a little bit to get the big boy ceiling out of them, and then you can fill it out with just everybody good. What do you think about something like that?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I can't click these Titans stack. These guys are, I mean, they got to figure it out. The interesting stuff, I think the most interesting talking point is the 3 games in the afternoon window. And with the Cowboys, Denver having the highest total, like that's a pivot game. Like it's going to be clear the Saints Buccaneers will get the ownership, and I agree with it. And then this game and the Denver Dallas game will be pretty low owned. So initially, like I don't think I'm going to have too much of these games, or even like really in this game. I like JT, I like Colts defense, I like Tyler Warren. But if I do need to pivot on this stuff and get off the chalk, like Danny Dimes, I think is the way to go. I prefer Danny to I like Rattler, Baker. They'll be higher owned though. I like Danny more than Dak, and I definitely like him more than Cam Ward. I mean, they're implied for 32 points. You get a little leverage off the running game. Again, I don't think I'm going to have too much pre-flop, pre-lock, whatever it is. But in the afternoon when swapping, I'm fine swapping onto this game because Downs will be pretty low owned. Pittman will be low owned. Warren will be in check. They're implied to score a lot of points, but right now, 10-game slate, there's other spots. I prefer, the JT FanDuel DK pricing, like we said, will be more popular on FanDuel than DraftKings. Yeah, he's a good play on both sites. I mean, it's just at what point are they up 31 in this game where they just don't run them anymore is the question.
Yeah. Taylor active and Breece Hall for the Jets, and Njoku active, Swift active, most of them what we expected. Dalton Kincaid active, waiting on that. Shadur inactive, yes. So when the computer breaks down, they can't go to the older, worse computer, I should say. But either way, the setup there is interesting. So yeah, Hoop, let's circle back. Let's go end it on this and see about this London situation. You talked about it off the top. Someone said it in the chat for sure. I think, the Mooney ownership does go to the moon. People were talking about how Mooney was getting the job done any games they weren't with London, and then how he'd been better in games with London. So it's actually interesting. He will pick up a bunch of steam. But what do you think about the Mooney spot and the rest of this game now?
I don't love Mooney as wide receiver 1. Like definitely I think he gets a little bit of a boost, but it is not a slam dunk sort of situation anymore. And I'm nervous for the Falcons here. I know they're a big potential survivor play this week, and not that we go deep into that stuff, but I'm nervous now. Cousins starting, no Drake London. Definitely boosting Bijan. I mean, the workload for him could be just absolutely massive. I think that's my biggest takeaway is Bijan. As much as I can get Bijan, I mean, they're gonna have to lean on him in a very, very big way, and I think it kind of ruins the game a little bit. It's less exciting overall. I do still like Jalen Waddle quite a bit, and I still like Achane, but the Kirk Cousins stuff to me is much, much riskier now, and I might be off of it or much, much lower on it than I was before.
Yeah, you could play Cousins, Bijan, Pitts, and skip over this conversation about the Mooney stuff if you wanted to get different that way. I think Bijan, our guy Tom Brady just said it. Bijan is now wide receiver 1. I could see a world, definitely a bunch of checkdowns, and him with the ball in motion is definitely pretty interesting. So someone else said it after I just mentioned. I think it's definitely possible. I think in any case, the Mooney boost is good for Pitts because people just hate Kyle Pitts, and it has zero to do with National Tight End Day, but I definitely think he's interesting. I mentioned it off the top. If we got that news, that would be a spot I was thinking about. Title, any extra thoughts, added thoughts to the London news?
So does this just make Bijan even like infinitely more popular?
It should. I mean, I think he's going to be part of the mix as well. People are definitely going to be higher on expecting him to get even more of the workload.
But it's like still limited time to make all the moves. Like,
you're a component. You're a believer. People build on Saturday and don't come back.
I mean, I think they do, but it's like the majority of people aren't going to. Majority of people in the lotto sort of contests aren't going to be factoring in, Bijan getting a boost here. Yes, the hardcore 150 people that are in it, like us professionally. Yeah. But like, when you're in those contests with 100,000 people, like, there's just no way they all make that sort of shit.
I will say too, I think one note has to be that's a good note too. Shout out to Jack Off, our boy. But what about two tight end has to go down? Because now you don't need it as well. Like anyone who's on a London lineup or anything in that range, or even thinking about something like that, could also now just go to Mooney and pick up another value play with their Noels, with their Schultzes, with their everything. You don't necessarily need two tight ends anymore either. Just of note. I mean, like I said, I wasn't using it a bunch anyway, but it's just of note. I think that could affect it as well.
Yeah, he is right in the same price range as Goddard, 4.4 and 4.2. I actually it does make me like the game a little worse. Like it makes Achane better. I don't even know if I agree for the sense of I think they pound the football more, which means they bleed more clock. If you get more Algier running for 4 or 5 yards, Bijan obviously has the big play upside. But if they're not airing it out and pushing this game more, I don't know, man. I still love Bijan. There's no doubt. But if his ownership went up like 8-9%, that's real stuff. No, all right. Then,
I can't. No,
you're better at this stuff than me. I don't
think so. I mean, there's still those other options though too. I mean, people like JT, CMC, Saquon.
Well, there's another point too, Hoop. I thought you were going to say it, but I'm going to interject. Is the other thing is when people go to Mooney, they oftentimes there's going to be people that move off Bijan as well because of if I can make Mooney work, now I can get to this. It's not going to be a bunch, I'm saying, but that adds to holding it in check versus it jumping 10% or something. That's how I would see it.
Yeah, and I don't think there wasn't enough ownership on London to do stuff like this. To be honest, I like Kyle Pitts more. I already liked him yesterday, but at a tight end position that feels so concentrated with Schultz, Goddard stuff, like Kirk Cousins can still throw the ball. Like he's a onesie position for cheap. So I think he's the one that gets the biggest boost for me.
Agreed. Yeah. That was my take off the top. I think it's just interesting. I said it from the last year when if people weren't watching the start of the show, whenever we had the week that was Pickens went out late like this, it was inactive. It was like a late, even later actually, but it was like, everyone went and jammed Calvin Austin the third, moved up to bigger running backs and fitting in more of the chalk that made sense. And it ended up being Freiermuth. And that's one example. It's not saying it's going to happen, just saying that's a lot of people just move to the next, who's the wide receiver one. I think Mooney is way better with London in there because that's the guy that separates him and allows him. And then when you got to, people say whatever they want to say about Pitts, but when you got to account for Bijan and London, and Pitts is still a big boy out there roaming the center of the field, moving around, then that's where Mooney can find open space. They don't have to focus on that as much anymore. So I definitely think it's interesting.
He's been so bad too. Not that it's really bad drops. I know he's dealt with a lot of injuries. So his training camp and stuff was pushed back a little, but again, I agree with you. Like I actually like Mooney when London's in because it just opens the field more. Like you said, it's one-on-one coverage. Defense isn't worried. You get loose that way. I don't know if the defense not game planning
setting up that way though. Like you just nailed it for another thought that ties in is it can set up that way for a lot. I like how my builds are shaping out. I don't have to change too much based on this news before I go build the final set. But I will say it's not that different of some other cases. Again, cash games, totally different. But like Devonta Smith without AJ Brown, yeah, that's nice for opening it up for him. And he's very talented, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of what he does is because it's Hurts, Barkley, Goddard, AJ Brown. Okay, yes, some of them are going to get rolling, of course. But when some of these guys move out, it does open up a little bit more, but it's not always going to be the ceilings and the outcomes that we need. So we'll see how it goes here. But I don't think the London ownership was as high to make those guys move, like you said, for this type of thing. You called that perfectly. But I do think it's going to change some of the composition for how people are doing things out there and how they're building and thinking. So, hopefully we put you guys in a pretty good spot. We'll do it anyway. The 2 touchdown takes real quick, just because we're here. Title, do you have a 2 touchdown take for today?
Yeah, I got a long shot for sure, plus 2,500, but little Tez Johnson action. You might see a nice backflip in the end zone once or twice. I like that game for him to get loose.
For that take, hopefully we're seeing 2 backflips because it feels like the guy can just do 100. He's at least doing 1 per touchdown. I don't think Hoop is going to steal mine, but I'm going to run it out there anyway because I saved it. But I like Alvin Kamara, 2 touchdowns, no Kendre Miller. I think it's definitely a spot. If he either does or he doesn't, but I think today's a chance for him to have a big game. Hoop, what do you got? 2 touchdown take to end it before we get out of here.
Yeah, so we're going to hit on 3 different positions, but I'm going to a similar team or the same team as one of you guys, and I'm going Cade Otton, 2 touchdowns today.
All in that game. That just shows how much we like that game.
That is true. Yeah, all in that game. That's our game right there. That's going to be the winner. New Orleans and Tampa Bay. That's it.
Yeah, and I'm going to have Hoops two tight end lineup because if he's got Cade for 2, imagine Dalton Schultz. He just didn't even mention him. Must be 3 for him.
Yeah. So yeah, there it is. So we got to do something. If someone comes up with a team that has Kamara, Tez Johnson, and Cade Otton, the highest scoring, if it cashes, the highest cash with that team, hit us up.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Tag us on X at SHIPIT Nation with that high. If you think you got the highest scoring team, as soon as someone posts one, we'll put it out there. Don't post it before. Post it after with your score. We'll keep quote posting it with the highest score for the team, and we'll do a free month, including SaberSim, for whoever has it, all access, every $139 membership.
Mara, Tez Johnson, Cade Otton.
Here comes Snowflake, and the rest of his teams are all flames.
If they bust, please don't post. Like if two or three of those guys bust, like it's over.
That's the fun in it. That's the fun. It's still the highest scoring team. All you have to do is tag us on X with the team. All right. At SHIPIT Nation, and we'll get it out there for you guys and just keep stacking them up over the top. We'll have some fun with it. All right. Any final thoughts, Title, before we get out of here? Anything else you want to mention?
No. One of the best days of the year, like always. Enjoy it. Good luck to everybody.
Hoop, final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, it's been a good 7-day stretch, and let's keep it going. The momentum's heading in the right direction, and I think it's going to be a big day for the community.
Yeah, we're like 3 or 4 weeks in a row now, 100K back-to-back, then a 50K for our guy Rick. Last week was a bunch of 50Ks, myself, Sheets, Ranger. Ranger piled another 30K on last night. We talked about the college football, the basketball, the NBA stuff kicking in. Every sport, it's just firing on all cylinders. So check it out. It's less than $20 to get in the door. You go to the site. It's any all-access core or starter plan using code SHIP19 gets you in. When you're on the site, it is very simple. You simply go to Join the Nation. Find the all-access monthly plan that you want, core or starter. The differences are at the bottom, so you can clearly see what you're getting between each plan. And then it renews in 5 days, but it gives you $19, 5 days, no strings attached beyond that to check it out. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. We appreciate you all watching. For Title, for Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it!